McCormick. This Gallup poll finds Americans are less likely to express a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in the military. The poll shows record lows in public confidence in several public institutions, but confidence in the military hasn't been this low since the late 90s.
The Dow is up 45 points. The S&P ahead 2. This is CBS News.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring system helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Civic Media radio stations, providing your news, conversations, and fun you won't find anywhere else.
With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. There's still over 1,000 people waiting for We Energies in Waukesha County. The power outages continue due to Friday night storms. At the peak, the severe weather caused outages for as many as 40,000 people, and crews have been diligently working throughout the weekend to restore power. The officer that allegedly ran over a Greenfield woman, killing her Thursday, has been placed on administrative leave. Milwaukee police are investigating the case, and the Wisconsin State Patrol is working on reconstructing the scene. The woman was accidentally struck and killed by a responding officer while lying in the road during a welfare check call. A biker not wearing a helmet lost control in Waukesha County yesterday, leading to his death. The 71-year-old wiped out on Highway Q near 164. With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles.
Does your financial strategy include your hopes and dreams? What matters most to you? For over 100 years, Thriveman has helped clients like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303, 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit thriveman.com/disclosure.
This summer, 540 AM WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Grave Digger, Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. At 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show on 540 AM WAUK.
The Devil's Advocates Radio.
The entire light beer industry is under attack from the right at this time, apparently, that they no longer have women in bikinis selling the beer.
I would suggest, and this is on the Fox Entertainment Network.
I believe it's the Fox News. Well,
well, I just hope they don't get to the Captain Morgan and Diet Cokes, man. That'd be a sad day.
The Devil's Advocates Radio with Dom and Crute. Weekdays 4 till 6 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Join the conversation with your favorite hosts or shows anytime. Follow Civic Media.
I'm sorry, I'm really riled up this morning.
Why is that a thing? How can that be a thing?
Yeah, it shouldn't be a thing.
Just what? I want to swear. I want to swear so badly.
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin!
So, are Nazis and drag shows as equally harmful? Asking for a certain Wisconsin representative. 844-967-2789. I have a feeling that a lot of people who are listening would probably say no.
They are not
damaging. Equally damaging or threatening, but you never know, because there are some people out there who very vehemently believe that drag shows equal pedophilia.
Even though, and I've mentioned this before, I keep a running tally on a weekly basis of the number of men who are charged with sex crimes against children.
We all need hobbies, Jane.
Well, you got to do something
I
with
got
your
to do
time.
something with that time, that
And
extra time you have.
Shockingly, because there are like 5 a week.
Jeez.
And that's probably an underestimation because I can't keep up with everything. But there are 5 a week that are straight men, youth ministers, pastors, former pastors, in some cases, attorneys, in some cases, law enforcement, and not one drag queen has been arrested. Not one drag queen has been arrested for child pornography or trying to, hook up with a person they think is underage. No, it's not drag queens.
Well, it's also interesting is that Vice News published an article on July 20th of 2023 with the headline, "Why do neo-Nazis keep getting arrested for child sexual abuse material?"
Huh.
So let's get to the point of why I'm asking this question. Over the weekend, there was a Pride in the Park event in Watertown, Wisconsin. Watertown, Wisconsin, small town. I don't know if I've ever stopped in there. Definitely have driven through it. And it did indeed feature a drag story time and drag shows. And it was in the park, so it was public. This is not weird. Wisconsin is not one of the states that has banned drag, so they were perfectly fine. There was protests last year. Last year, there was an opposing group that tried to get the event canceled. They were not able to do that. There was protests. And inevitably, there was protests again this year, which is fine. Everyone's right to do exactly that. But they had all their, the group that organized the event, Unity for, no, what is it called? Unity for was it Watertown? Why can't I see? Unity Project of Watertown. Sorry. And they had their permits to do the event, so they were going to do the event. And at one point during the event, an armed neo-Nazi group called Blood Tribe, which
fun group,
fun name, showed up for about 45 minutes. So there was a video journalist there who took to Twitter on Saturday to document the protests and wrote, "Blood Tribe group marching in Watertown, Wisconsin, protesting Pride in the Park." In her video, one neo-Nazi group member can be seen carrying a weapon, and it was not clear at that point whether other members were armed. And there was some video that was posted if you want to play some of it.
No pedals on our streets! No pedals on our streets! No pedals on our streets! There will be blood! 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 Pedophiles get the rope! 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 There will be blood! Blood! Blood!
So, to paint a visual, or if you couldn't understand, because they were all wearing masks, so you can't.
They're so brave and they're so proud of their identity.
Yeah, so you can't identify any of the people. They were wearing masks, but then also weirdly they were all wearing khakis.
Yeah,
which now there's a whole other part of Twitter that is convinced that they're feds.
Yeah, because of the way they dress.
Because of the way they dress, that those guys, the Blood Tribe is feds. This other group called Patriot Front are just feds,
trying to stir up trouble.
Or they're undercover Antifa.
Oh, right.
But, so they were, for the 45 minutes they were there, they were chanting things like, "Us are the pedophiles.
Pedophiles get the rope.
Pedophiles get the rope. There will be blood, blood, blood." And, they're there to intimidate you. So what we know about what Blood Tribe is, so from the Anti-Defamation League, they describe Blood Tribe as a neo-Nazi group with semi-autonomous chapters in the United States and Canada. Blood Tribe promotes hardline white supremacist views and openly directs its vitriol at Jews, non-whites, and the LGBTQ plus community. Blood Tribe formed in 2021 when neo-Nazi Christopher Paulhaus began referring to his followers as the Blood Tribe. As his following grew, he began holding and attending private white supremacist gatherings which eventually led to the formal Blood Tribe membership ceremonies. I wonder what's entailed in that.
I'm sure it's a lot of fun.
In 2023, members of the Blood Tribe began participating in anti-LGBTQ plus protests. During those protests, dozens of members dressed uniformly in red shirts, black masks, and black pants, shouted racial and anti-LGBTQ plus slurs, waved swastika flags, and gave Hitler salutes. So that's what we know about Blood Tribe. What we know about Unity Project of Watertown, according to their Facebook page of how they describe themselves and what their mission statement is. Unity Project of Watertown was created to bring awareness to social issues in the Watertown area. We welcome anyone as long as they are respectful of others. Our mission statement is to promote a sense of acceptance and belonging among all members of our community. Same.
Oh, they're just exactly
same.
Exactly the same. Except for the whole death and blood and all that stuff.
And according to, and she deleted it, so maybe she doesn't actually believe this, but Representative Barbara Dietrich of Oconomowoc originally was someone who was voicing her dismay that there was going to be public drag shows. And so her first tweet was, if you want to have a drag show, rock on, but do it in an indoor space without children. Today, Patrol Parents Wisconsin and Gays Against Groomers were out protesting the open-air drag show with children's activities in the city of Watertown. While I do not represent the city, I do represent, she goes, it's been deleted, so I can't see because this is just a screenshot.
Sure.
Then about 3 hours later, she found out that there were Nazis at the protest.
Whoops.
And she said, I have learned that a neo-Nazi group decided to stir things up outside the open-air drag show in Watertown today. I find that loathsome. How shamefully far things have descended in our communities between sexualizing kids and disturbing hate groups. And I just find it so disingenuous to put these two things together.
And say they're the same.
And say that they're both equally harmful to our communities. And so I'm asking you, are they? Are these two things equally bad? 844-967-2789. When you hear the description of a group called Blood Tribe and what they promote and what they stand for, compared to a group that's mission is to be inclusive, how can you say that they're the same? And in the same sentence condemn both, where one is literally trying to be a safe environment in a small town.
22, like a little over 22,000 people in Watertown.
And versus a group that idealizes Hitler.
And looks forward to killing fellow Americans.
And but that was the rhetoric that I was seeing as far as, there was also the rhetoric, like I said, of a certain amount of people convinced that they were planted there to make MAGA look bad. But I always think, like, when that starts to happen, don't you think the people in the group who showed up to protest want to be like, no, that was us. That was us. Like, don't take that away from us.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't know.
Like, to show up and make the effort, even if you are hiding behind a mask, to disrupt a organization, wouldn't you want to come out and be like,
take credit
for it when they're trying to take it away from you and say that it was either Antifa or the feds?
But that gives them some extra wiggle room to keep throwing out these conspiracy theories that the FBI is the one who was behind January 6th. And so I can see where they would want to play that both ways. And again, if you're so proud of your beliefs, then take your masks off, you big cowards.
I know. At least, and I was thinking about that as far as how intimidating it must be to see a group like that descend upon a group, especially when they're armed.
No kidding.
But it's also interesting how I was thinking about this is becoming a more and more frequent occurrence of protesters that show up to different events, which to a certain extent as long as they're not hurting anybody, is within their right. It's upsetting, but it's fine. And in comparison to, and like how desensitized, at least I feel to it, of hearing about this, I mean, like, oh God, yeah, there's a group out there doing XYZ thing, compared to Charlottesville in 2018.
Jews will not replace us.
Yes. And none of them were wearing masks. They were wearing khakis, though.
Yes, they were wearing khakis. And if you remember, our former president said that during those protests, there were very fine people on both sides.
So I don't know. Do you find any argument whatsoever to be true that these two things are the same and they both should be condemned? And just nobody should have been at the park in Watertown this weekend and everything would have been fine. 844-967-2789. When we come back from this first break, we will read your texts or your calls. I also looked up just to see what other hate groups Southern Poverty Law Center has documented in Wisconsin. So I can let you know about that. And also, I'm once again going to ask you, what would happen at your job if you almost started a fist fight and called someone a PSSY? Because that's still happening in Congress. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
These are the lanes we're given. Stand up and let's start showing just where our lives are going to.
Hey, this is Lindsay Kindred at 540 WAUK The Shaw. At Civic Media, we love our local communities and want to share your stories. Submit your local event and we'll let our listeners know. Email me, Lindsay Kindred, at info@civicmedia.us. That's info@civicmedia.us.
Hey, this is Matt from Design Garden. Remember when the internet was new? Back then, you had to leave your house to start a business. Companies used to pay programmers bags of cash to get online. Now, small businesses can get online with a Facebook business page or Squarespace, or Google My Business, or WordPress? But which tools should you use? Can you afford to go down the wrong path? Design Garden uses modern tools to build your website the right way. Find us online at design.garden. Again, that's design.garden.
It's time to turn Fridays into Fri-yays with WAUK.halfoffdeal.com. You'll find deals for spots around town like restaurants, spas, and more. This Friday at 8 a.m., you'll save 50% on another great local business. This week is Brunch Restaurant. You can brunch it up at their location in downtown Milwaukee, Brookfield, or Cedarburg. Brunch is all things breakfast. To get this deal, go to WAUK.halfoffdeal.com this Friday at 8 a.m. Since it's 50% off, there's only 100 deals, so they'll sell out fast. When they're gone, they're gone.
It's easy to listen to your favorite local radio station anytime. Download the Civic Media app from the Apple or Google Play Store, then listen live or whenever you want from anywhere for free.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Mainly sunny skies this afternoon, with highs around 81. Winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, lows level off around 59. Partly cloudy skies again tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 85. Highs level off around 86 Wednesday, with a chance for scattered showers. 88, partly cloudy skies Thursday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 73 degrees.
Smiling faces sometimes pretend to be your friend.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Metnair. And this is it's the last day of July.
Yes.
Jeez.
The summer has just gone whoosh.
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 And coming up, we have 2 times today that we're giving away Wisconsin State Fair tickets. So if you would like to win some free tickets, we're giving them away at 10:50 and 11:20. So set a timer.
And you can't lose.
This
game.
844-967-2789. So that is coming up later in today's show. But right now, we are talking about an event that happened in Watertown Wisconsin over the weekend at a event that was Pride in the Park, organized by Unity Project of Watertown, and a neo-Nazi group called Blood Tribe showed up. And
big brave men.
No one got hurt. It was about 45 minutes. It sounds like it was intimidating, as it's meant to be, but I picked up on what happened on Twitter when people were talking about the event, and I'd love to talk to someone who was actually there and hear more about what happened and how disruptive it actually was. But at least there was video footage of them being there and the chance that they were screaming. And what I saw, including from Representative Barbara Dietrich, was the idea that both are bad.
Drag shows
in public are bad.
And Nazis in public are bad.
And Nazis are bad. And I just wholeheartedly, with my full chest, want to say that is BS. It is just total BS that a drag show is as harmful and inherently violent in its imagery and what it represents as Nazis. And I'm glad she deleted the tweet, which I think is an admission of, maybe I got that one wrong.
What
would really be admission is saying, hey, I got that wrong, and taking accountability for. But this is also the same person who keeps pushing all the anti-trans sports bills, even though I've yet to see her tweet once about the U.S. women's soccer game.
But she's very concerned about women in sports.
Very concerned about women in sports, but yet not celebrating any women in sports, from what I can tell. She tweets a lot.
Yeah.
And now, because I've gone down this rabbit hole a couple times, now she pops up every time she tweets on my X, or whatever we're calling this.
Yeah,
now.
I'm never calling it that.
Joe McClear piping in on the Facebook live stream, which you are always welcome to watch instead of just listen to us. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Give us a follow when you're there. Just find us at As Goes Wisconsin. Joe McClear says, Barbara Dietrich, had she lived in Mississippi in the 50s, quote, I just learned that 14-year-old Emmett Till was brutally murdered. How shamefully far things have descended in our communities between whistling at a woman and beating young boys to death. Woof.
Wow.
Joe, coming out hard on a Monday.
Wow. You know, the other thing that always amazes me when they talk about the sexualization of our kids, nobody brings up 5-year-olds being dressed up like 30-year-olds to compete in beauty pageants.
Well, some people bring it up.
Not enough.
People bring it up as exactly like you did, of like, well, we sexualize them in other ways.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, get the onesies that say heartbreaker, or, lock up your daughters, or all these things as like little babies, and assuming that they're going to be, heartbreakers.
Sex kittens when they grow up. But that's not sexualizing our kids.
No.
That's fine. And normal.
And it's just interesting, because inherently somewhere in there, they know that it is bad, or it is, because they want to make it about pedophilia and sexualizing kids, because they know that it is bad to make it just about being anti-gay and anti-queer. Right? They know that's discriminatory.
Right.
So they have to try to make the link to make it predatory in some way.
Yes.
In the same way, I feel like when we talk about racial stuff, it's not about race. It's about meritocracy. It's about income inequality, and not understanding how those things are inextricably linked. And I'm not racist. I just think these things, because they know inherently it is bad to be racist. Not everyone, but most people will not admit that they have a bias towards people who are not like them. And so they have to make it about another thing
to justify
it instead of just saying the quiet part out loud, which is, I am uncomfortable with gay people. I am uncomfortable with gayness, and I am comfortable with things that I don't understand. And that's what this is. 844-967-2789. It is interesting though, because I looked to see if Blood Tribe was one of the groups that Southern Poverty Law Center lists as a hate group in Wisconsin. It's not.
So they traveled here.
So they either traveled here or just it's not, this list is not up to date because this is in 2022. So in 2022, they tracked 21 hate and anti-government groups in Wisconsin. So as far as there's more anti-government groups, it seems like American Meeting Group, which is statewide, ASN Study Guide and University, American State Nationals. I haven't heard of that.
Oh, that sounds like a real good school.
Constitution Party is an anti-government movement. Folks Front, Folkish Resistance Movement, neo-Nazi, statewide. John Birch Society, that's been around for a long time.
Yes,
that's
a long time.
Anti-government movement. And then it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chapters of Moms for Liberty are now listed. Wood County, so that's our WFHR, Rock County, Racine, Polk, Ozaki, and Kenosha. Pretty interesting. All right, when we come back, we'll get to some headlines. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
And I got proof.
This summer, 5:40 a.m. WAUK has a new lineup. 4 to 6, the Devil's Advocates with Dom and Cruz. 6 to 7, the Maggie Dawn Show on 5:40 a.m. WAUK.
CBS News Brief. A Mar-a-Lago employee is expected to plead not guilty any minute now in the classified documents case. CBS's Scott McFarland.
According to the superseding indictment, the Oliveira attempted to delete security video that potentially showed the movement of boxes and classified records.
The judge in a Georgia grand jury investigation has rejected Donald Trump's bid to disqualify the lead prosecutor and block any indictment stemming from the case. Health officials say nations still aren't doing enough to curb tobacco use. CBS's Alexander Tin.
The United States is among the countries not to implement some key policies the WHO has called for worldwide, like protecting all residents from secondhand smoke in all indoor public places and sweeping bans on advertisements.
New poll finds we're less confident in the U.S. military. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
Republicans especially support the military, but even their numbers have fallen, down more than 20% in the last 3 years.
CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. As of now, there are still more than 1,000 people in Waukesha County awaiting assistance from We Energies. The power outages persist as a result of the storms on Friday night. At the peak, the severe weather impacted as many as 40,000 customers. Milwaukee experienced yet another weekend of violence with 6 people shot between Saturday afternoon and last night. A 7-year-old boy was among the victims shot yesterday, and an 11-year-old has been taken into custody in connection with that case. All public bathrooms in Oconomowoc were checked for cameras after a hidden recording device was found in a porta potty last week. Oconomowoc police discovered a battery-operated camera in a porta potty at Bender Beach on July 25th. The park's Recreation and Forestry Department inspected all public toilets as a precaution but found no other cameras. With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles.
Living happily ever after isn't always a reality. If you're over 50 and are considering divorce, attorney Andrea Gage with the Everson Law Firm can provide the guidance you need. Andrea focuses on silver divorces, the kind that get more complicated over time and present unique challenges. A family, multiple properties, significant assets. Andrea and the team at Everson Law have the experience to protect your interests. Call Everson Law to set up an appointment with Andrea today. It's never too late to be happy. Everson Law, 920-435-3734. If you care about animals or crops, you probably care how the weather could impact both.
It's summer in Wisconsin, and the success of your efforts often depends on knowing the forecast. Count on your local Civic Media weather team for all the information you need.
Crops' roots are also growing deeper in search for water, which is bad news because when rain finally falls, it will sit shallow and be absorbed in the top layers of the soil.
Your weather and more for your part of Wisconsin.
On your local Civic Media radio station and streaming on the app.
This summer, 540 AM WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Grave Digger, Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. And 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show on 540 AM WAUK.
It's never personal, only politics. The Devil's Advocates Radio Show with Dom and Crute. Weekdays from 4 until 6 on your...
All my babies coming home tomorrow. Ain't that good news? Man, ain't that news? Babies coming home tomorrow. Ain't that news? Man, ain't that news? I got a letter just the other day.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair, and we have a caller on the line.
We do. Dave from Mequon is joining us. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning to you both. How are you?
We are peachy. How are you, Dave?
Hanging in there. Really quickly, so I'm listening to the conversation, and my first question to both of you is, have either one of you seen the movie Sound of Freedom by chance?
Have not seen it yet. Heard lots about it.
Okay. So, that's a true story.
With some caveats in there, Dave.
And Dave, I should also let you know, I've been
but-
very aware of child trafficking for like the last 15 years as far as like studying it and stuff.
Excellent. So one of the things, so I actually saw the movie. So one of the things that I was surprised or shocked is how out of control it is as far as, crime against kids. And it's bigger than the actual illegal gun trade now. That's how big it is. They show some stats at the end of the movie. And part of the problem, and I think, and I don't know if people realize this, but it's big money because you can literally take a kid and you can obviously turn them for tricks over and over and over and over and over again. And these cartels are making a gazillion dollars. And unfortunately, on the dark web, there's a lot of bad stuff out there that promote this, and it's a sexualization of children. And unfortunately, you guys just mentioned, with drag queens and stuff of that nature. I'm not saying that, that is like common, as far as, what's going on.
It hasn't been proven at all.
Well, actually, there has been. If you go on DuckDuckGo, which is different
what is
than
DuckDuckGo?
Google, it's a different search. DuckDuckGo is basically a search engine that competes against Google. Google has certain algorithms that will suppress certain things. And so DuckDuckGo is basically another search engine where you could just punch in certain things specifically, and you will get a very different list of things as far as stuff that would be a little bit harder to find on that particular search engine. So I would just, before we go, into the weeds, as you would say, I would just encourage, A, you see the movie, number one. Number two, you do a little more research as far as what is actually been reported, because there is keep in mind, this movie was pushed. They filmed it 5 years ago, and Hollywood did not want to put it out there. And as you know, Hollywood has been sexualizing kids for quite a long time.
So have beauty pageant owners,
so
Dave.
has the Catholic Church.
So has the Catholic Church. I mean, and
yes,
I would encourage you to look into the man who financed that movie and his background and where he got his money from. And the other thing that I understand, at the end of that movie, they don't give you anything actionable to do except to encourage other people to see the movie so they can keep making more money. So I would encourage you to look into where that money is actually going, what they're actually doing with those profits. And again, Dave, I can prove to you there are 5 straight white guys a week who are getting charged with sex crimes against kids.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I guess to go back to the original question, though, Dave, and then we got to let you go because we got to move on. Do you think Nazis are as bad as drag shows?
Do I think Nazis are as bad? No. Nazis are way worse.
Great.
Thanks, Dave.
We agree. Thank you, Dave.
844-967-2789. You can always call and or text.
Actually, Scott from Chicago followed up. I think we're going to try to get him on the show because when he called last week to talk about Sound of Freedom and the work that he does with anti-trafficking, I think he'd be an interesting person to get on.
Absolutely.
On the phone, because there is it is interesting to me and then we'll close out that topic. The new wave of people who are very concerned about it, which is great. To have more people upset and aware of how prevalent, both in this country and worldwide, child trafficking is, human trafficking in general is. We've had people on the show to talk about sex trafficking in both of minors and again, if you're very upset about sex trafficking of minors, you should be worried about our safe harbor law that people want to pass so that children under the age who are minors who would not be able to give consent sexually if it was a consensual situation, they would not be able to give consent. But because there's money involved, they can get charged for prostitution in Wisconsin instead of what it is, which is still child rape.
And they're victims.
So there's stuff happening in Wisconsin already that you could get involved with if you were very worried about child trafficking, about sex with minors, about the sexualization of minors, that has nothing to do with drag shows. Anyways,
Shall we move on?
Let's move on quickly. Just because, on Friday we talked about what would happen to you at your job if you talked to someone the way that Derek Van Orden had decided to talk to teenagers.
And more details came out over the weekend. I don't know if you saw that he was up in their faces, screaming in their faces.
Did not know that.
Yeah. That was interesting little tidbit that came out over the weekend.
But Congress, it's, they can't deliver a single vaguely useful piece of legislation because of partisan gridlock, but they certainly can deliver drama, which may be needed as the SAG and WGA strike continues. That this is the only reality show that we need, is just watching Congress. So the Daily Beast reported, along with the fighting that's been happening between Lauren Bobo and Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's 2 other, girls that are fighting. And so Eric Swalwell, who is a Democrat from California, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who is a Republican from California, reportedly got into it on the House floor last month. And it culminated in Swalwell calling his Republican adversary, quote, unquote, a starts with a P, ends with an OC. And which, again, if that happened at your job, what would happen? Would you be fired? Like, the fact that this is tolerated whatsoever is insane to me.
Wouldn't this at least go in your personnel file?
Yeah, you would definitely be at least written up for this. So the events leading up to the brawl in question apparently took place in June, when House Republicans voted to censure Adam Schiff over his role in investigating Trump. And so I guess Swalwell stood near McCarthy at the podium as the House Speaker oversaw the vote. And you can hear Swalwell tell the Speaker, "This is pathetic. You're weak. You're a weak man." One source, an unnamed House Democrat, told the Daily Beast that McCarthy was visibly upset to the point that he had a vein popping out of his forehead and stared down the Democrat for a whole 10 seconds before walking away. And then the next day, Swalwell emerged from the bathroom. McCarthy confronted him, and the two were allegedly in each other's faces, another House member told the Daily Beast. According to both sources, McCarthy told Swalwell, if you ever say something like that to me again, I'm going to kick the S out of you. There was some back and forth between the two. The witnesses said, leading up to McCarthy telling the Democrat, call me an ussy again, and I'll kick your butt. Didn't say that part. To this, Swalwell offered a wonderfully mature response. You are a PUSSY. Just the peak of maturity happening at the highest level of government.
Doesn't that make you sleep well at night? Knowing that there are such adults in the highest halls of power that behave
so good at conflict resolution.
Absolutely, and they stay calm and don't let their egos get in the way. It's just it's so reassuring.
So anyways, I just had to lighten the mood knowing that grown, and they say women are emotional. Women are too emotional to hold these jobs.
I know.
Clearly men really have it all together.
Oh, they're so together.
In other news, Foxconn made something.
What?
What?
The company that got billions and billions in taxpayer dollars and has produced basically nothing?
They have produced something.
Oh,
yay. Not new jobs.
Oh, well.
But they have been building microinverters for Enphase Energy.
Okay.
And this has been at their campus in Mount Pleasant, and there was no additional jobs were created as a result of the deal. But a Foxconn insider said several hundred employees worked on the project.
Do we have pictures
of what it is?
Because I would like to make sure that they're actually doing that.
Well, sure.
Okay.
This is from Ricardo Torres in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and they're the first picture that goes with the story. Foxconn employee builds microinverter for Enphase Energy.
Oh, so there's a photo.
There is a photo.
Oh, well, okay then.
So, and I should say, it would be great if something actually did come from Foxconn.
Without a doubt.
Like, I'm not rooting for this to continue to fail, because if they could get their act together and actually create jobs for that area, that would be a very good thing
for all of us.
I would like for this not to continue to be not be the butt of the joke. But until then, they are. Speaking of Foxconn, so how hard, could you imagine making $800,000
a year?
A year.
No.
Scott Walker.
Who?
Scott Walker, former governor.
Former gov.
Who, I think it was late last year, had said that he'd be bored being a senator, which is why he wasn't going to run to be a senator.
Well,
now it sounds like he's not going to run for Senate because he's making $800,000 a year being the head of this organization where he has to produce basically zero results. Like, why would you ever walk away from that job?
You don't have to. It doesn't sound like he's really accountable to anybody, right?
Man. And so this is
great gig if you can get it.
Great work if you can get it. Daniel Bice, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Scott Walker makes $800,000 molding young conservatives while liberal student voting surges. So the group, if you're unfamiliar, that Scott Walker is now the head of, despite being, Gen X, and this being a group that is targeted towards Gen Z and young conservatives. So I don't know what, lifeline he has towards how young people are thinking and feeling that they thought he was the man for this, but whatever. He makes nearly $800,000, or at least in 2021, he made $800,000 heading up that organization. And in truth, I don't know what results they're proving, because in this state and across the country, that age group has certainly been voting in droves for Democrats and on liberal issues, so much so that even the constituency that he's supposed to be targeting and representing after the Supreme Court race, he went on Fox and his own Twitter, was like, insinuated that we should change the age.
Let's
that they
raise
can
that
vote.
age. Let's raise the age.
And to be fair, what he actually said was the age to drink and the age to vote should be the same. So then he backtracked a little bit and said we should make the drinking age lower, even though he's never supported that in his public career. But I would say to get paid that much money to have, I mean, some of the CEOs make that. It's like literally being the CEO of a company and making millions of dollars and having declining profits and just being like, well, I'm going to keep making that money. All right, when we come back, we're going to give away some Wisconsin State Fair tickets. So if you would like to win, call now, 844-967-2789. That's 844-96-PARTY. Let's hear what kind of food you want to eat. This is As Goes Wisconsin.
It's summertime in Wisconsin, and whatever the weather, it will impact you and your plans.
Should I water the garden? Will our event be rained out? Count on your local Civic Media radio station for in-depth details and the most up-to-date forecast.
Temperatures are rising into the mid and upper 70s under sunny skies.
It's your weather and more for your part of Wisconsin.
On your local Civic Media radio station and streaming on the Civic Media app.
This summer, 5:40 a.m. WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Grave Digger, Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. At 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show. On 5:40 a.m. WAUK.
Up North News Radio with Pat Kreitlow.
A guy named Bill out in Economowoc. Bill's got some thoughts on that.
Yeah, thanks for talking about what you're talking about right now. Your station, you raise the bar high for integrity. You are a community radio station, which means you look out for all the citizens in the state of Wisconsin.
Daily conversations about Wisconsin's latest headlines and stories. Up North News Radio with Pat Kreitlow. Weekday morning 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Mainly sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 81. North winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Lows level off around 59 tonight. Partly cloudy skies. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Highs level off around 85. Chance for scattered rain showers Wednesday with highs in the mid 80s. Partly cloudy skies Thursday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist.
Say hey, good looking. What you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? Hey, sweet baby, don't you think maybe?
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. We are still taking callers. If you want to win State Fair tickets, 844-967-2789. Call right now if you would like to win.
You can get 4.
You can get 4 tickets.
That's a big savings.
How much are they? They're like 15
They're $15.
$20?
And then I think it's 15 to park.
Yeah.
And so.
Which these are not necessarily, these do not give you free parking.
No, they don't get you free parking, but you get in for free.
You do get in for free. So yeah, you can win up to 4 tickets if you call right now, 844-967-2789. And while we're waiting for our first caller, just a reminder that the Civic Media blood donation drive is still going on. So if you are not familiar or you can't remember what this is, hashtag Civic Pints, be kind and give more blood. So if you donate blood anywhere in Wisconsin from July 10th until we're doing this into August now, you can get entered to win one of many, many prizes, including State Fair tickets, including Brewers tickets, and including some Civic Media swag. So All you have to do is if you go to civicmedia.us/giveblood, you can find your nearest donation center and make an appointment. And then once you are giving blood, take a selfie while you donate blood. And if you post it to social media and hashtag Civic Pints, we'll contact you and you'll be entered to win.
Very cool.
And then you just also get a good person pat in the back for donating blood during a time that there is a major shortage. So don't forget to donate blood sometime this month, because we decided to extend it into August.
Right.
Do we have a caller?
We do. Michael from Brookfield. Good morning, Michael. How you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
We're great. You ready to win some tickets?
I'm ready to win some tickets. Wait, are there questions?
You can't lose.
You can't lose, Michael. It's a
Okay, all right.
shoe-in either way you do it.
So
I don't know. I'm pretty good at losing.
as you know, the state fair is known for the crazy food that gets introduced each year. And so there's over like 100 new foods that they introduce. Some sound pretty normal, but I have gone through and picked out the ones that sound the most adventurous. And we are going to play a game where I'm going to give you all three foods, and then one you have to say is something you would eat all of it once, one you would eat for the rest of your life, and one you would never eat and you would banish to hell. So all you have to do is categorize the three foods.
All right, I think I can do
You can do that.
You can do
We
this.
believe you. All right, the first one. A brown sugar sweet potato iced latte. Cool off with an iced latte flavored with brown sugar, sweet potato puree, a dash of cinnamon, and brown sugar boba pearls, garnished with a toasted marshmallow and a deep-fried sweet potato funnel cake nugget. The brown sugar sweet potato iced latte is sure to revive you on any day of the state fair.
Yeah, because you're going to be bouncing off the walls from all the sugar.
And don't
Holy
worry, it's
cow.
made with non-dairy creamer
Oh,
for
well.
anyone who's lactose intolerant.
So you're health conscious.
All right, so that's option number one, Michael. Option number two, camel chili cheese fries. Camel chili cheese fries are sidewinder fries covered in warm 100% camel ground meat chili, then topped with 2 types of cheese and sour cream. These exotic chili cheese fries are so ooey gooey good, you'll need a fork to help you devour them.
God, I hope so.
So think about if you want to eat camel. And your third one is this is supposed to be dill pickle fudge. Just white chocolate fudge base with natural dill pickle flavors.
God, why are they trying to punish us like this?
So which one are you eating? Which one are you eating all of it once?
I think the camel.
The camel.
Get it over with.
Get it over with?
Yeah.
Get it over with.
Just get it over with. Eat it once. I can say I've eaten camel.
Okay. Which one are you eating for the rest of your life? Once a day?
I like the sound of the latte, actually.
Oh. I'm a big sweet potato fan.
Are
That
you?
sounds really sweet.
Yeah.
But I do like sweet potato. All right. So you're going to have a sweet potato iced latte every day for the rest of your life. So that means you have no interest in dill pickle fudge.
I have no interest in mixing my fudge and my pickle.
I think that's a wise decision, Michael.
Very, very smart. All right.
Yeah.
See, we told you there was no way to lose.
Oh, thank God.
Are you, do you know which day you're going to go already? What's your favorite thing to do at the fair?
I actually like going down the bag slide, even though I'm in like 60s. So it's been a lot of fun.
I love that, though. That's one of the things I love about State Fair is that adults get to do really juvenile things and no one judges you for
Exactly.
it. Like going to the pig,
Right? You know.
going to the pig races and just being silly and laughing your head off, and or the I
Right.
love the dog exhibition where they jump into the pool for like distance and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, there's so many fun things. I wish I could go more days than I think I'm going to be able to go. But Michael, congratulations. I hope you have a great time.
Don't hang up.
Don't hang up. Jane will get your information so we can
All
get
right.
these tickets to you. But thank you for listening and thank you for playing.
Yes.
All right.
Don't go away.
So I'm trying to think. We have a couple minutes left.
We do. We are going to give away more tickets.
We're going to give away more. We're going to play that game again at 11:20. So if you
missed out,
it's new foods. there's some beer batter in one. It's another bug one. And there's more dill pickle stuff. There's a lot of dill pickle stuff this time around, which I do like dill pickles. That's one of the things that I have gone through a week of craving.
Oh, really?
But not mixed with stuff.
So not pickles and ice cream or
I've not had pickles and ice cream. It's just like I
anything
will just
weird
sit
like
down
that.
and eat a jar of pickles. There's been no weird mixing cravings. It's just been like this week is still
watermelon week.
It's still it's less watermelon. It's the specific type of like oat square cereal. But I've also, and what I've been driving Mike nuts with is a resurgence. I used to do this as a kid. And I just love, for right now, chewing ice.
Chewing ice.
Which I'm sure my dentist does not want to hear.
Your daughter's going to be so odd.
So odd. But I'm just like, that is what I've been craving. It's just chewing ice.
At least it's not terrible for you.
It's not terrible for you. I don't think it's great for your teeth.
Probably not.
But it's specifically the ice at Quick Trip. So good.
Got to be Quick Trip ice.
All right. When we come back, we're going to have some fun in the next hour. Have you heard of Girl Dinner? Have you heard of Lazy Girl Jobs? We're talking about all of it because I just think both these things have already existed and we're not now just giving them names. But come back after the top of the hour news. This will still be As Goes Wisconsin. Stay tuned.
I'm gonna throw my date book over the fence and find me one for 5 or 10 cents. I'll keep it till it's covered with age, 'cause I'm writing your name down on every page. Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me?
You enjoy listening to your podcasts.
You're listening to The Shaw, WAUK 540 AM Jackson, W266DR Waukesha, and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Steve Kathan. Life in prison without parole is the possible sentence an Idaho woman faces in a court session getting underway now. Lori Vallow Daybell was convicted of killing her 2 youngest children, JJ and Tylee, and conspiring to kill a romantic rival. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti.
Among the 3 family members expected to give victim impact statements in court, Kay Woodcock, the grandmother of J.J. Vallow. Colby Ryan, Vallow Daybell's only surviving child, will also give a statement. And Summer Shiflett, Vallow Daybell's sister, whose jailhouse call sent chills throughout the courtroom.
There's nothing okay about killing children.
Tennille Brown is a law professor at the University of Utah.
I don't think that the victim impact statements are probably going to change the sentencing too much.
In Georgia, the judge presiding over a grand jury investigation into former President Trump has rejected his bid to disqualify the prosecutor and block any possible indictments. Court appearance today for Carlos de Oliveira, a Mar-a-Lago employee now facing charges in the Trump classified documents case. CBS's Scott McFarland.
According to the superseding indictment, among other things, de Oliveira, along with Trump and Trump's aide Walt Nauta, attempted to delete security video that potentially showed the movement of boxes and classified records.
On the weather map today, CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson says attention is focused on the south.
We'll be getting to 107 degrees in Dallas today. Feels like temperatures even hotter than that. Austin will get to 106, Houston to 103, Baton Rouge to 103. They'll break their old record by a whole 3 degrees there. And New Orleans perhaps topping out of the triple digits with swamp-like humidity.
And after 31 straight days at 110 or higher, Phoenix is expected to top out at 106 today. Ukraine reports 4 people, including a 10-year-old child, were killed in the latest Russian missile attack. CBS's Ramy Inocencio.
Today's attack on Kryvyi Rih, just a couple hours drive west of where we are here in Zaporizhia, is personal for President Volodymyr Zelensky. That's because it is his hometown, and it could be seen as retaliation for Sunday's drone attack on Moscow.
Dutch scientists working with an electric race car have unveiled a new battery that recharges fast and has a range of 155 miles. Heike van Hees's firm sponsored that study.
We presented a battery pack that can charge in 4 minutes, and to be precise, it can charge in 3 minutes and 56 seconds. And therefore, we've presented the fastest charging electric race car in the world.
Coolant plates keep the battery from overheating during fast charging. Checking Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is up 45 points. This is CBS News.
Hire with minimal effort and max speed with Indeed. Their hiring solution platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates efficiently. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Your hometown radio, refreshed, keeping you informed, entertained, and connected on the Civic Media Network. civicmedia.us.
With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. An official autopsy is today for the 84-year-old Milwaukee man who was found dead in his apartment after a power outage caused his electric home oxygen unit to fail. Alton Smith was discovered on the floor of his living room next to an oxygen tank, and no signs of trauma or injuries were discovered. The apartment, like many others, was impacted by the power outages and the severe storms. More than 1,000 We Energies customers are still without power in Waukesha County. The prospective buyer of Northridge Mall has backed out of its contract to buy the vacant building after failing to reach an agreement with the city of Milwaukee. City officials wouldn't lift the demolition order, which led to the company's decision. Phoenix investors had been funding security measures to protect the property, but now they've withdrawn their interest in converting the mall into an industrial space. With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles.
Whether you're grilling burgers at the cabin or roasting hot dogs around a campfire, Village Hearth and Artisan Hearth buns and rolls are a summertime essential. With so many varieties to choose from, including classic white and wheat, unsliced old-fashioned, brioche, gourmet French, and flavorful onion, Village Hearth and Artisan Hearth has the buns and rolls your family will love. Village Hearth and Artisan Hearth, baked locally and delivered fresh daily.
This summer, 5:40 a.m. WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Grave Digger, Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Cruz. And 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show. On 5:40 a.m. WAUK.
A no-holds-barred political conversation. That's Matt Flynn Direct.
Gerrymandering is not democracy. It's commie government. It's fake government. You have somebody that gets 48% of the vote and they get 67% of the seats. That is not democracy. It's fake democracy. It's the appearance of law without the reality or the actuality of law.
Matt Flynn Direct. Weekday afternoons from 3 until 4 on the Civic Media Network and on the Civic Media app.
Missed your favorite show live on air? It's easy to find what you enjoy where...
But we also proved that I'm not always nice.
But even when you're upset and even when you're ticked off, you still come from a place of compassion and love. Whereas I'm just old, bitter, and jaded.
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time. This is Kristen Bry with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada.
Hello, Wisconsin!
girl dinner, lazy girl jobs, two gendered ideas that are trending right now on social media, specifically TikTok. Jane Matnair, do you know what either of these things are?
I know what girl dinner is.
Did you know before had you heard of this before?
Well, it's just something that's always happened.
Oh, okay. So this is not a new term to you.
I don't think the concept is certainly not new.
It is not new to me either.
It's like when your boyfriend or your husband or your wife goes out of town and you're on your own, you make yourself a different kind of dinner.
A different kind of dinner. Exactly.
Right?
Do you know what lazy girl jobs are?
No.
So which one should we start with? Which one should we tackle first? Let's start with the lazy girl jobs.
Okay.
So both of these things are videos that are trending on TikTok and social media talking about what they're calling phenomenons, but in my opinion, they are not phenomenons at all. These are things that have existed and both sexes do them, and they're just like new names for stuff that has been happening. So the lazy girl job. Do we have a clip about it?
We do.
Let's play that.
Take a listen.
Say bye to girl boss and hello to lazy girl. A new trend has amassed millions of views on TikTok. It's called lazy girl jobs. Lazy girl jobs are the latest iteration of a rebellion against hustle culture and reevaluating the role work has in our daily lives. These jobs range from admin work to remote work that are low stress, flexible, and undemanding, allowing one to take many breaks and avoid overtime. Plus, they tend to offer a decent salary. The trend is in line with phenomena like quiet quitting, where employees stop putting in extra time and effort due to burnout, pay discrepancies, and a lack of respect at work. But here's our question. What exactly is lazy about some work-life balance? Overwork or burnout leads to an unrelenting sense of pressure and exhaustion that can have detrimental consequences on one's physical and mental health. Not to mention that women get paid less for that work than their male counterparts and take on a disproportionate amount of labor at home. It's exhausting. So it's no surprise to see women rejecting the expectation that they have to work to keep climbing upwards, just to see the guy next to them with the same exact job get the promotion. And if you ask us, that's not lazy. It's a form of self-care.
So that is thanks to the Skim who put that video out on their social media. To me, this idea of lazy girl jobs, what they're calling it, one is not lazy. And I think the second thing is to me, it just speaks to the choice between, do you live to work or do you work to live? And that there's plenty of people out there, male, female, whatever, that their job is their job. And that's when they leave it at work and then their work does not define them.
They're done.
They are done. They are not trying to climb any kind of ladder. They know that this is their salary. This is what's expected of them. And that is good enough. Because it's not like the fact that it got like roped into the idea of quiet quitting, which also is just putting like more negative connotation around something that's like, oh, I just put better boundaries up as far as how much I let my job burn me out and go above and beyond. And I am someone who's certainly not, I would say in my current health state right now of being pregnant is the first time in my life that I am not putting the pressure on myself to hustle and do a million different things. And I think my entire career and all the different things that I've done, no one puts more pressure on myself than me to do more things. And even in this time where I'm like giving myself a little bit of a break because I'm tired, I still don't have like someone over me being like, well, why aren't you letting the ball drop?
Oh, you
right?
should be doing this.
And except for me being like, this is a weird feeling to not be pushing myself to like the furthest extent that I possible. So like, I'm certainly someone who is always, I would say, been for better or worse, live to work.
Well, and you're a high achiever.
I'm a high achiever. I let my work be part of my identity. And that's just how it is. And I know lots of people like that. And there has been trends of like hashtag girl boss and like hustling, like hustle culture and all of this stuff that like you know, if you read any male self-help books that are disguised as business books, it's all like about how to get ahead and blah, blah, blah. Productivity hacks. And so now this idea that they're calling this thing like a lazy girl job, but it's like, oh no, you just have better boundaries and like expectations of like your job doesn't necessarily have to define you, and that you can find jobs that are a living wage
that you don't have to kill
that you just
yourself
have to,
for.
yeah, and you just meet expectations, and that's enough. And it's like, that's not a new thing,
No,
is it?
No, it's not. Although I think certainly for my generation, it was you do as much as you can and any more that you can. You just do it. And if nobody else steps up to do it, then you offer to do it.
And I would say you still abide by that.
Yeah, I do.
For better or for worse.
Yes. Because it's got to get done. And if no one else takes the garbage out, we're going to get bugs.
And we have gotten bugs before.
Yes, we have.
We have been like, oh, those are some ant friends that we didn't have last week. Yes. And yes, I would say that there is a
generational.
It's a generational thing, but is it not also tied up in, it goes both ways. So if you work for a place where they're not necessarily respecting you or your time, or they're constantly asking you to do more than what is in your job description, like putting that up and not necessarily feeling like I'm not getting paid to do more than I have to do. So is that the wrong, I guess maybe there is no right or wrong. It's just different, but that the attitude that like, this is my job description. And if you want me to do more than that, pay me. Because otherwise it is free labor, right?
For sure.
And it's just banking on the expectation of people's inclination to go above and beyond in order to get ahead. And so if the idea is like, I don't care if I get ahead, then that's just what it is now.
844-967-2789. You can call and or text. Michael from Eagle is joining us this morning. Good morning, Michael. What do you think?
Morning. So I absolutely feel like this is just another, way that in a long line of different ways that it reeks of kind of a similar way that people have tried to divide us for a long time, especially, the top 1%, the masters of the universe type, by dividing us based on racial lines, or whether or not, obviously in this instance, based on gender, as a way to distract from the fact of the disparity that has occurred at when it comes to like the wage gap between the top earners and the working class. And this is just another way, another version of what used to be like, oh, it's so hard to find good help these days, right? It's just another way that they're trying to, like you said, it's exactly that. It's just someone that's having good work-life boundaries and realizing, that the same thing with quiet quitting, right? It was all about like on one side for the people that were advocating for it, it was like, oh, I'm going to start, acting my wage, right? Because they were just realizing the fact that what they were getting paid was not enough for the amount of effort that they were putting in. And so then it was rebranded as quiet quitting, to put a spin on it. And really, I feel like that's just all part of an effort to demonize what is, them trying to use labor and without, rightfully compensating people for it.
So who's they though? Because the only pushback I'm going to give on that, because I agree with you as far as the motivation, but it's almost like, at least in the videos that are trending online, it's the young women themselves that are like self-identifying as, oh, let me show you my lazy girl job, like day in the life. And so it's almost become like the opposite flex of like girl boss, like hustle culture, which I think is interesting. So it's like, is there a top down they that is like branding this, versus are girls young women, just like calling this the wrong thing? So like, no, this is just boundaries.
Potentially it may have started like that, but I think that you even look at how things get twisted. You look at like Black Lives Matter, started, and then they were able to twist that and turn it around. It's like, well, all lives matter. It's like, well, Black Lives Matter means that all lives matter, right? But like, unfortunately, people take that and turn it around because you didn't phrase it the way that they want, and they, then can use it as a hook to like, oh, use this as an example of how lazy they're being, right? And so, yes, they might have been well-intentioned in terms of like the way they were branding this and really what they were trying to communicate in terms of the fact of having a better work-life balance. But I'm afraid that it's going to just be used like so many other of those other examples I talked about as a way, as like a wedge issue to distract us from what the real issue is, which is the massive amount of income disparity that has happened and the moats that exist between those kind of upper ruling class and, you know, working folks.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for the call, Michael.
Appreciate it.
It's so funny because it's like most of these are admin jobs where, you know, it's like it's not high stress. It's not like you have to hit a sales quota or you're like running a campaign where the metrics matter and stuff like that. But I was trying to think of like, what is the actual best example of a lazy girl job? And that's all what immediately popped in my head is selling feet pics.
Feet pics?
Oh, you don't know this the whole thing?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, there's women who make tons of money selling pictures of their feet.
Oh, feet. Okay.
But as someone who has a size 11, I don't think I qualify.
Oh, there's a market for that somewhere. We have Jesse on the phone from Milwaukee. Jesse, thanks for joining us real quick. We got about a minute left. What do you want to say?
Hey, yeah, I think the idea of trying to have a work-life balance is great, but I think people have to realize, I'm seeing this with some of my younger sisters right now, of just, they're like, oh, I want to get paid every week and I want to work from home, but they only have a high school education and they're not fully realizing, like, you can't just start off right out of high school with some of these jobs. You have to get into an office to get those admin skills first. And so I think that's what's dangerous about these trends is people are seeing them on TikTok and seeing like, oh yeah, I can make a bunch of money with the Temu app or selling my feet pics. And it's like, you can't build a life or a career on that's going to sustain you for the next 20 to 30 years. You've got to build some skills first. I think it's a good thing to establish those boundaries, but I think young women need to realize first, like, you got to have some marketable skills before you can try and
before you can do that. Absolutely. Thanks so much for the call, Jesse. That's a really good point. All right, when we come back, we're going to keep this conversation going, but we're also going to give away some more Wisconsin State Fair tickets. So give us a call now, 844-967-2789. If you want to go to the State Fair for free, this is As Goes Wisconsin.
We belong to the world now. We belong. We belong. We belong to.
It's so hot. Wait, now it's going to rain? It is summer in Wisconsin.
As much as we love it, we love to hate it too. Find a forecast you can count on along with the in-depth details you need. Only from the Civic Media Weather Team.
These extended conditions have led us into a flash drought. Sitting in these above average temperatures with minimal rain has swiftly altered the local climate.
Your weather and more for your part of Wisconsin.
On your local Civic Media radio station and streaming on the Civic Media app.
This summer, 540 AM WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Grave Digger. Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. At 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show. On 540 AM WAUK.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Mainly sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 81. North winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Lows level off around 59. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Highs level off around 85. Chance for scattered rain showers Wednesday with highs in the mid-80s. Partly cloudy skies Thursday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 70.
Our state fair is a great state fair. Don't miss it, don't even be late. Scholars with no one that our state fair is the best state fair in our state.
Our state fair is a great state fair. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jay Metnair. And the State Fair starts this week on Thursday.
Yes.
So we are giving away tickets every day this week. This is the second time today. We're probably going to do it twice a day because we got a lot of tickets to
We
give
got a lot
out.
of tickets.
And so we are playing a game that you can't lose. In order to win the tickets, all you got to do is call. And who is our caller for this this round?
Rachel from Muskego. Welcome to Ascos, Wisconsin. How are you doing this morning?
I am great. How are you?
Great. We're great. We're having fun today. Do you subscribe to the Lazy Girl job? Were you listening to that part of the conversation?
I was listening to part of it. I'm a retired special ed teacher, so I put in my 30 years of hard labor.
I was going to say,
substitute teach.
Not a lazy girl job, being a special ed teacher.
No,
I
definitely
have
not.
special ed teachers in my family, so kudos to you for dedicating your career to that. So thank you for that. All right, so the rules of the game. I am going to read off 3 different new food items that you can get this year at the Wisconsin State Fair, and one of them you have to pick as something you would eat the entire thing. One, you would eat at least a little bit for the rest of your life every day, and one you never will eat and you have to banish it to hell. Got it?
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
No pressure.
No pressure. Can't lose. All right. Number 1, beer battered corn dog dipped in hot Wisconsin cheddar. Beer battered corn dog dipped in hot Wisconsin cheddar turns State Fair staples like the corn dog, beer, and cheese into one amazing dish. This fresh beer-infused battered corn dog cooked to golden brown perfection and dipped into a blend of hot, melted Wisconsin cheese.
That's got my name all over it.
Oh,
man.
yeah, that's
Oh, baby.
Jane's watering at the mouth. All right,
Ooh.
so that number 2, bug brownie on a stick.
Oh.
Try eating bugs at the Wisconsin State Fair this year. The bug brownie on a stick features crunchy and nutty tasting bugs that pairs beautifully with a chocolate brownie. Each brownie is piled high with chocolate frosting, candy corn, ants, crickets, worms, and a scorpion. That's number 2. And number 3 is another corn dog, dill pickle corn dog, a tangy dill pickle and hot dog dipped in corn batter, deep fried and served on a stick. And they have a picture. It's basically the hot dog is inside of the pickle and then
deep fried.
It's like a turducken.
Yeah. That would be my granddaughter's favorite.
Okay. So which one are you picking to eat the entire thing once?
I would eat the hot dog with the dill pickle.
That's your whole, okay. That's what you eat once.
Do it once and get it out of the way.
What are you going to eat for the rest?
Yeah.
What are you going to eat for the rest of your life, Rachel?
The one that was dipped in cheese.
Oh,
Rachel, I am so with you.
There you go.
Oh,
so no
boy.
bugs for you.
And the bugs would be yeah.
Have you ever eaten a bug?
Vanished to hell. I have not eaten a bug.
I have not eaten a bug either. The fact that every
the
year
brownie might cover it up. Yeah,
It's when they include the worm, though, Rachel, where they lose me, because we talked about this last week, and one of them described the juicy worms. I don't want a juicy worm.
So you could do the crunchy scorpion.
It's crunchy is going to be better than juicy.
The fact that they sell so many things with bugs on them at the state fair, it makes me think that they have to be good because they're not just going to lose money on all of these things, right?
And there are chefs all over the world who are incorporating bugs.
But it's hard to get over the fact. But all right, I approve. I agree with your choices, Rachel. So thank you so much for calling. Hold on the line.
Yep, don't hang up.
Jane's going to get your information.
Okay.
So yeah, the bug thing, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try it this year.
If they coat it with enough chocolate to distract you, because I think they only taste crunchy, right? And a little nutty.
They could describe them as nutty.
Right.
To be fair. But going back a little bit quickly on our conversation about the lazy girl
jobs.
Lazy girl jobs, we had someone from WMDX. Lazy girl job is just clickbait. If they tag their post as life balance, no one will notice. So maybe that's what it is.
That's a good point.
Because we're going to switch gears in the next segment to talk about this other trending topic on social media right now. Again, gendered, and again, something that I don't think is new, and yet is getting, amassing millions of views and thousands of hundreds or thousands of videos of people making this, which is going back to girl dinner, which to me is just single person's dinner.
For sure. I'm sure I know men do this too.
And like, it's just the idea of like, who actually cooks a full balanced meal for themselves when they are by themselves versus a much easier thing to do. And so for both of these trends, quote unquote, my takeaway has been like, why is this only girls? Is it one only because girls, there's more girls out there trying to be influencers and content creators,
Or
and
is
so
it because,
they're jumping on the trend more?
Or because most women are responsible for making dinner?
Maybe that could be too. Very interesting. But we're gonna keep talking about both after the break. So the reminders, the two topics at hand. There is lazy girl jobs, and I would love to know if this rings true for you as far as like, do you work to live or live to work? Because I feel like that is exactly what this juxtaposition is between, of like lazy girl job versus like hashtag girl boss, and like balanced life versus hustle culture. And it's just being packaged as something else. But this is probably a more fun topic. What do you cook when you're alone? What do you make yourself for dinner when, either if you are single on an average night, or if you're in a relationship when your person is not there? And would you call that girl dinner? And when we come back, we'll give a little bit more of a description of what girl dinner is, if this is totally lost on you. But 844-967-2789. We would love to hear from you on either of those questions. 844-96-PARTY. This is Ask Goes Wisconsin.
Dollars to donuts that our state fair is the best state fair in our state.
Our state fair is a great state fair. Don't miss it, you'll be late. It's dollars to donuts that our state fair is the best state fair in our state.
Security camera video deleted.
CBS's David Parkinson watching high heat and humidity settle in the deep south.
We are likely to tie or break a record in Austin every day for the next 7 days, so there is no relief in sight for the heat.
CBS News Brief, I'm Steve Kathan.
Looking for more local programming? Check out our website, civicmedia.us, to see our entire lineup.
With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles. There's still over 1,000 people waiting for We Energies in Waukesha County. The power outages continue due to Friday night storms. At the peak, the severe weather caused outages for as many as 40,000 people, and crews have been diligently working throughout the weekend to restore power. The officer that allegedly ran over a Greenfield woman, killing her Thursday, has been placed on administrative leave. Milwaukee police are investigating the case, and the Wisconsin State Patrol is working on reconstructing the scene. The woman was accidentally struck and killed by a responding officer while lying in the road during a welfare check call. A biker not wearing a helmet lost control in Waukesha County yesterday, leading to his death. The 71-year-old wiped out on Highway Q near 164. With news on WAUK The Shaw, I'm Stuart J. Waddles.
Does your financial strategy include your hopes and dreams? What matters most to you? For over 100 years, Thrivent has helped clients like you find financial solutions for life's important goals. Explore a full range of options, from financial advice and investments to insurance, banking, and generosity programs. To have a heart-to-heart about your finances, contact Mandy Roberts, who you may recognize as Mandy Wright. Call her at 715-470-1303. 715-470-1303. Mandy Roberts proudly serves the central Wisconsin area. For more details, visit thrivent.com/disclosure.
Hey, this is Matt from Design Garden. Remember when the internet was new? Back then, you had to leave your house to start a business. Companies used to pay programmers bags of cash to get online. Now, small businesses can get online with a Facebook business page, or Squarespace, or Google My Business, or WordPress. But which tools should you use? Can you afford to go down the wrong path? Design Garden uses modern tools to build your website the right way. Find us online at design.garden. Again, that's design.garden.
It's time to turn Fridays into Fri-yays with WAUK.halfoffdeal.com. You'll find deals for spots around town like restaurants, spas, and more. This Friday at 8 a.m., you'll save 50% on another great local business. This week is Brunch Restaurant. You can brunch it up at their location in downtown Milwaukee, Brookfield, or Cedarburg. Brunch is all things breakfast. To get this deal, go to WAUK.halfoffdeal.com this Friday at 8 a.m. Since it's 50% off, there's only 100 deals, so they'll sell out fast. When they're gone, they're gone.
You're listening to a radio station that's part of the Civic Media Network. Find more at civicmedia.us.
Wisconsin. I am Kristen Bry. She is Jane Madnair, and we are talking about social media trends that aren't really trends. I think they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
In the last couple segments, we were talking about hashtag lazy girl jobs, which is really just having a job where you're not pushing for a promotion, you're not going above and beyond, you're doing what your job description is, you're fulfilling expectations.
You're not killing yourself.
And you're not killing yourself, which is something that is fairly foreign to me, but I understand that there are people out there who do this. But the other trend that's been lots of people have been talking about is this idea of girl dinner. And do we have a clip for that one too?
We do. Take a listen.
Does this look like dinner to you? What about this? Apparently, we're calling this girl dinner now. I'm Alex Carr with The Skim, and I'll explain why. Women across social media have been showing off their dinners, and surprise, they're not these big fancy meals, Julia Child style. Instead, we're talking about things like a cheese board situation, or leftovers, or peanut butter in bed. Those are girl dinners. The common thread is that there's basically zero prep time, and it's all about the vibes and eating what you want in the moment. Some people have said girl dinners cannot possibly be filling, and they could actually be showcasing an unhealthy relationship with food. But other people say that's kind of missing the point, and girl dinner isn't about what's actually on the plate. Instead, and stick with me here, girl dinner is an act of resistance, because women have historically been the ones to prepare this meal at home. And so girl dinner is kind of a rebellion against that, because it's about taking pleasure in your food, especially when you didn't take much time to prepare it. So what do you think of girl dinner? Personally, we don't really care what it's called as long as you enjoy it.
Power to the dinner.
Yeah, I think it's making a little bit more out of it. I think this is actually something I feel like comes back to being lazy. Unlike the job situation, whereas this is lazy person dinner because I don't want to cook for myself and I have no one else to cook for. And so my question for you is, when you are alone, so if you are in a relationship and your person is out of town or out for the night, or if you are single and you typically are eating at home alone, what does your dinner typically look like in those situations? 844-967-2789. Are you making yourself a protein, a starch, a vegetable, or are you eating what's around the house? Because this to me, again, is so stupid that we're putting this name on it when it's only when I have been in relationships that I have a balanced dinner. And like when I was single, I didn't cook for myself.
You lived on Skittles.
I did. Well, I ate a little bit more than that, but like these videos or this trend or whatever, people saying what they eat when they're alone. Like I certainly have done that, mostly out of time, convenience, what's in the house, how hungry am I, and like in general, grazing throughout the day has been my way of eating for a while versus I have breakfast and then I have lunch and then I have dinner.
Right.
And they are meals. But again, we're saying this is like a girl thing to do. Where are the bachelors out there? And what do they cook for themselves for dinner?
Well, for heaven's sakes, what about all the married men out there who, when their wives go on vacation with the girls for a week, are you telling me that they're cooking a 3-course meal?
What does Paul do when you're gone?
He dies. He gets fast food. He goes in and he gets fast food.
Yeah.
Or he heats up a can of soup.
That's exactly what I feel like my dad does. It's like it's either goes out and gets a burger somewhere, gets like a Subway or a Jimmy John's.
Yep.
Heats up some leftovers, makes some soup. I think that's it.
What about pizza?
Pizza, like that's a convenient. Like I'm trying to think of Mike. I feel like I don't know what he likes making home chefs. So but again, when he makes a home chef, I feel like that's usually when we're going to eat together.
Right.
Because I do think when it can also be hard to cook for just 2 people, but like as far as quantities and stuff, but at least like cooking, because then you eat it together.
Right.
Or you, even better, you cook it together. And like that is the activity and the intimacy of we're doing this thing together versus I don't feel like that's when you're just like eating because you need to eat. There's not a lot of routine or not routine. What's the word? Like you don't need to make it special. You just kind of like, I just need to not be hungry.
Right.
And so what do I have in the house?
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY from the 310. Jack's Pizza contains all the food groups you'll ever need.
Especially a supreme one.
Oh,
some vegetables in there.
Everything you need.
That's what we grew up on was Jack's Pizzas. We've now become a Red Baron house because Mike is very adamant that he thinks Red Baron is better, and I'm not going to die on that hill. But we were certainly a Jack's Pizza house, which I will still do. Like there's been plenty of times where Mike has been out for the night, and what I end up making for myself while he is out is I will eat an entire frozen pizza by myself, which I will have you know, a whole frozen Jack's Pizza is still less calories than like 2 slices of pizza from like a standard delivery place.
No kidding.
Because there's so much less cheese and like the ingredients that actually are put in. It's like usually very thin crust.
Right.
So I always defend myself of like, yes, it's a whole pizza, but the actual caloric intake
is less.
Is like 500 calories.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It's like it's less than like depending on what Jimmy John's sub you get or something like that. Those can be like 1,000 by themselves. So that is one of the things that I would eat when I am by myself is like a Jack's Pizza or some combination of like a handful of nuts, some hummus and some carrots and like a cookie.
Well balanced meal right there. 844-967-2789. We have Mark from the SAC on the phone. Good morning, Mark. What is your go-to solo dinner?
Oh boy, because I've actually done some spectacular solo dinners. When I was doing chemo a couple of years ago, I did some of Jamie Oliver's 5-ingredient cooking.
Ooh!
So that is just I did orangey lamb chops with baby carrots and so it's just turned out really good. I mean, even the leftovers were good. But
it sounds good.
If you prep, but there's a lot of times you just throw some chili together that. But if you have cans of stuff available or jarred stuff available, you can do stuff pretty good with just a few simple ingredients like a lot of Indian simmer sauces. You can just simmer, saute some chicken and dump the simmer sauce in, and then dump it in whatever veg you want. Some baby carrots or some baby potatoes, and you got a pretty complete dinner there.
Mark, we need to do a cooking hack segment with you.
Well, I get a lot of my hacks from Jamie Oliver. He does some pretty fantastic stuff. 15-minute dinners, meals, and 30-minute meals, and the 5-ingredient cooking is pretty cool too. There was one I did. It was 4-ingredient cooking, which was cod fillets wrapped in bacon or in.
So you cook. Needless to say, you're someone that even when you're by yourself, you are not going to go for like something that you can just grab. Like you find pleasure in actually cooking a meal, even alone.
Yeah, it's right now it's been kind of tough with the chest tube. I mean, it kind of limits my mobility around the chicken. But I mean, yeah, I got fresh tomatoes coming in now, so that pluck a bunch of those, slice them in half, throw in some basil, a little olive oil, a little vinegar. If you got feta cheese, you can toss that in there. It's
you're making me hungry, Mark.
It's
so you're the opposite. You're the opposite of girl dinner. You're a man cook. Thanks so much for the call, Mark.
My mother taught me well. I mean, I can remember the meals at home. There was always like even canned pears or canned peaches with a scoop of cottage cheese in them and with a maraschino cherry on top, and then a regular meal that my mom got me cooking right away. I mean that.
Good for her.
That's great.
Thanks so much for the call, Mark.
I think we just lost him. 844-967-2789. What is your solo meal? We have Tom from Cedarburg joining us. Good morning, Tom.
Hi, ladies. I like pizza also. I like the quick trip pizzas. They're basic ones or cheaper ones. They're like $7 or so, and they have pepperoni and sausage. Pepperoni, and they also have a cheesy Alfredo with chicken, and that's really good. That one there, my mom, I really like that one. But I have a question. I have a couple that are in my freezer, that are probably a year old or 9 months old. Are those still eatable? I thought I'd ask some experts here who might know.
So if you have a 9-year-old frozen pizza,
9-month-old,
9-month-old, I would say yes. If it's frozen. I mean, don't come back at me if you get eat it and sick. Like I claim no liability in my answer, but I would say yeah, I would eat it.
Don't eat it frozen.
Right. And I've learned also you want to put it higher up in the oven. If you put it lower, the bottom doesn't get as crispy.
Ooh,
that's a good hack.
Good hack.
Thanks a lot, Tom. 844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. Jess in Tosa says solo dinners in our house are also pizzas. I get DiGiorno when my husband is away. He gets glass nickel with vegan cheese.
Ooh.
When I am gone. And another from the 541. If it's just me, sandwiches or takeout fast foods or maybe leftovers if we have some. If the wife is home for dinner, we might cook something up, although we eat out too much as is. And also from the 541, I must be doing something wrong because 30-minute meals take me an hour to prepare for 10 minutes of eating.
That's the thing. It's like I've saved over the years. I've saved so many recipes of things that look good, but when it comes like push comes to shove, it's like, all right, I go to look at the thing that is like I would want to make this, but then it's like, what do I actually have in the house?
Right.
Am I really gonna go buy the ingredients that I don't have in the house to make this thing? Or am I just going to eat what I have because I'm tired and I just want to sit here?
I don't want to go out.
And sometimes what I have is a jar of pickles. Or I mean, that was like the Kerry Washington's character, Olivia Pope. It was like wine. That was the original, I think, if we're talking just like this trend in general of girl dinner. That whole show where basically the only time you ever saw her eat was when she was at home eating popcorn and drinking wine. That was her dinner. That was always. I don't think she ever ate otherwise on that show.
Different nutritional requirements.
Yeah, totally. A text from WMDX, the 608, a rare steak because my wife can't stand the sight of blood in her steak. So that's what I think is also interesting for people who are in a relationship. What if you eat the thing that your partner never wants to eat? I remember growing up, the question that we're asking right now is, what is your go-to solo dinner? So when you were home alone, if you're married or in a relationship and your partner's not there, do you cook? Do you just have a go-to easy meal?
Takeout.
Or if you're single, what is in general, what does your meal at night look like? Because there is this trend of girl dinner saying, just like charcuterie boards and cheese and crackers. There was definitely a type that I would buy a baguette and a wheel of brie cheese, and I called that dinner.
And protein.
It was good.
I'm sure.
But we have another from the 608 in regards to Jack's Pizza, as discussed by Kristen. 310 to 340 calories per serving. Serving is a third of the pizza, so about 1,000 calories or more for the whole pizza. Okay, so I was off.
Corrected.
I was corrected.
That's
still
all right.
1,000's not that bad.
No, well,
I'm pretty sure like a sundae from Culver's is more.
Probably depending upon what your toppings are and
Or
stuff
what
like
your
that.
size is.
Yeah.
But we would love to hear from you. We'll keep this going through the break. Towards the end of the show, what is your go-to solo dinner? 844-967-2789. Is it fancy? Or what is the most, or what is your guilty pleasure when your partner's not there? I'll come back and I'll say what, that was what lost my train of thought. What we used to cook when my dad was out of town that my mom was really excited to cook because she knew he wouldn't eat it. This is As Goes Wisconsin, 844-967-2789. We'll be back right after the break.
Hey, Racine and Kenosha, Civic Media and WRJN have landed your Green Bay Packers. Not only will you be able to hear your team run over the NFL this year, but now is your time to make your dream come true and be an official partner with the Green Bay Packers. One phone call is all it'll take to set up an appointment for Tuesday, August 1st and Wednesday, August 2nd. WAUK and WRJN will be around to talk to you and your company about how you can have your brand associated with not only the Packers, but the Badgers and local high school sports. And we'll also buy you lunch. What are you waiting for? Call Civic Media now at 608-819-8255 to secure an appointment for next week. Only a handful of Packer sponsorships left, so call us now. 608-819-8255. You don't want to miss out on a partnership that will be more profitable than your fantasy football team. 608-819-8255. This deal is a guaranteed touchdown. This summer, 5:40 a.m. WAUK has a new lineup.
Yes, that's awesome.
Starting at 6 a.m. Up North News, 8 to 10, The Earl Ingram Show. Mondays, 8 to 9, Under the Helmet with the Grave Digger, Gilbert Brown and Earl Ingram. 10 to 12, As Goes Wisconsin. At noon, Civic Media Network News. At 12:15, Town Call. 1 to 3, The Todd Alba Show. 3 to 4, Matt Flynn Direct. 4 to 6, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. And 6 to 7, The Maggie Dawn Show. On 5:40 a.m. WAUK.
Here's your updated forecast on the Shaw. Daytime highs approaching 81 this afternoon under mainly clear skies. North winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, lows level off around 59. A blend of clouds and sun again tomorrow. High of 85. High temperatures reach up to 86 Wednesday with a chance for scattered rain showers. 88. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times Thursday. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist.
It's getting better all the time. I used to get mad at my school. No, I can't complain. Teachers who taught me weren't cool. No, I can't complain. You're holding me down.
What do you eat when you're alone? 844-967-2789. Or what do you eat specifically when your partner's not there because you know they don't like it? We already had one person say that they do steak because they're rare steak because their wife does not like the look of blood, which made me think of when we were kids, it was taco night.
Oh, really? Your dad doesn't like tacos?
My dad is not an adventurous eater. I don't think he would be offended by me describing him in that way. So typically, we'll say ethnic foods in general, he was always a little wary of. I think he likes tacos now, but growing up, like he came to Taco Fest when Mike still ran Taco Fest in Milwaukee. he came one year, and he's opened up a little bit. But when we were growing up, because it was such an easy meal
Oh, yeah.
to cook for kids and something he would never want, because it was just like, it was specifically the hard shell tacos, just ground meat with whatever taco mix, like seasoning.
Right.
And then, chopped up lettuce and
Tomatoes,
or
onions.
whatever. And that was our go-to easy meal when Dad was out of town. And then
love
I think
hard shell tacos.
I don't even know the last time I had a hard shell taco.
Yum.
Maybe we'll make some this week.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY. John from the Falls. When my wife is out of town, my go-to is jerk chicken pita from Cosmos Creek Restaurant in Wauwatosa. It's worth a 20-minute drive both ways. I would happily eat their jerk chicken at least once a week for the rest of my life.
Wow.
If I could.
Bold.
That's very high praise.
Jerk chicken. That's all right. All right. That's a good one. We have Todd Alba of the Todd Alba Show, which you can hear 1 to 3 p.m. all across the Civic Media Network. Good friend of ours. He just tweeted out and said #Guy Dinner, a picture of Aroma frozen pizza.
Okay.
A container of Pringles.
Okay.
And a bottle of Gnarly Head Cabernet.
The perfect meal for one.
I would say that the amount of times that my girl dinner also included a bottle of wine was not infrequent. Like a $10 bottle of wine, especially when I was in my 20s. Often, very often. But I tweeted back at him, I said, do you crumble the Pringles on top of the pizza? Because some people do that.
Oh, I would think that Pringles would be the appetizer.
Could be. But I've met people in the past who crumpled chips on top of pizza.
See, stop doing weird things with pizza.
That's fine. I put chips in my sub sandwiches sometimes.
I can see that.
Because I put a jalapeno kettle chip, because it adds crunch
I can
and
see
a little
that.
bit more flavor to the sandwich.
I'm not anti that.
Not anti that. Well, it's no Fig Newton, Jane.
Well, that's true. That's a whole other argument. 844-967-2789 if you would like to check in. When my husband is gone, and this is just a throwback to childhood because I find it so comforting, I will get white bread, not Wonder Bread, but I will get white bread,
Okay.
cheese slices.
Like Kraft?
Like Kraft cheese slices.
So
American
cheese products, not cheese
food.
Not cheese food.
It's a cheese food. And I'll make a grilled cheese sandwich with sweet pickles on the side, and then a can of condensed tomato soup from Campbell's with milk, not water.
Oh, so it's basically a grilled cheese.
A grilled cheese.
Sweet pickles.
On the side, and tomato bisque soup.
Yeah, that's
just something
respectable
that we always had as kids, which
you could elevate it and get something like nicer cheese, or is it specifically you need that kind of cheese?
It's got to be that cheese.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's more about, it's a texture issue
You
because
want it to
that
be
stuff
gooey.
melts really well.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
And then the other go-to for me is I love Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Isn't it so good?
It is so good. And I have tried macaroni and cheese recipes for decades and gone to different restaurants where they all tout their macaroni and cheese. And I don't know what it is about that pseudo fake cheese powder they have, but it's magical.
It's magical.
It is.
It is. I went through a phase of that. I think specifically during the early stages of first trimester, of like not that many things felt that appetizing. It was mostly like starches and Kraft macaroni and cheese. I went through a good month of like, that's all I wanted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It is. I don't know why. I agree with you that unless it's like, there's no other boxed, healthier version that comes close.
And I'm trying to think who their competitor was that came out with like the sauce in a
Velveeta?
pouch. Yeah, not even close. Nice try, Velveeta. Not working.
There's like a healthier option called the Annie's or something that I think is less. They claim that the cheese itself that you use is less processed. I don't know how that'd be possible.
If it's a powder?
If it's a powder, how it's like, there's no way that this can be that like anything but marginally healthier than the Kraft version. Right?
Definitely.
All right. Well, if you were listening to this as a podcast, shoot me an email. Shoot us an email at asgoeswisconsin@civicmedia.us what is your go-to solo meal? Because I think this is a really fun topic.
And we all do it.
Mark from the Sack is the only person that we've heard from that actually, and I guess the guy who says he makes a rare steak.
Yep.
But like most people, I think that at least we've heard from today, go to a convenient, may I say, lazy option when they are by themselves as what they cook. So again, why are we calling this girl dinner? That's just
we all do it.
We all do it. It's a single alone person thing. Let's call it that. All right. Well, coming up tomorrow, Dan Schaefer will be back, and tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow,
oh, Janet gets sworn in.
Janet Protasiewicz will be sworn in. So I'm sure we will talk about that with Mr. Dan Schaefer as we recombobulate with him as far as what lawsuits are coming down the pipe, how quickly we may see the redistricting lawsuit even get filed. Obviously, we have the abortion case that's already been making its way through the courts, but we will talk through, both, I think, what lawsuits we expect to see and also level setting expectations
about how quickly things will change.
And the fact that the cases still have to play out.
Right.
That this is not just,
it's not a slam dunk now.
Yeah. And so we will talk about that. We're also going to be talking to Kirsten Finn from Wisconsin Bike Federation. We will give away some more state fair tickets. I saw Barbie over the weekend, so we may have a conversation about Barbies and specifically what the big deal is. It's kind of my
outrage.
My take is like, was it the best movie I've ever seen? No. Do I understand the outrage at all? No. But we'll get to hear from you about that tomorrow. But as of today, thank you for calling. Thank you for texting. Thank you for being part of the show. Come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. when we will do this all over again. This has been As Goes Wisconsin.
It's getting better all the time.